The worst stat of the season. Jordan Mason, inside the 5-yard line this season,
right,
has 7 carries for -1 yard and 1 touchdown. He is the league's only running back to fail to score at least 3 touchdowns on 7+ goal line carries. And this is a guy who's averaging 5.2 yards per carry on every other part of the field. Every other part of the field, he is 5.2 per carry. But on a goal line, it might as well be a civilian. He might as well be you or me. That is where the 49ers are failing in this season. Again, screw your wide receiver trade. I don't need a wide receiver trade. I need Jordan Mason to get 5 yards to carry when he's looking at goal to go. That's what you need. You need Jordan Mason to be able to punch things in. The last thing I need is another failing, that wasn't designed well, that wasn't executed well, pass on the goal line to a receiver core that doesn't exactly have that goal line target, but for George Kittle. Give the ball to Jordan Mason and let him have success down there. If the 49ers had done that and had that available to them, they would be what, they played 7 games, they would be 5-2. Jordan Mason pounding it in at the goal line, they're 5-2 right now.
You haven't mentioned anything about why he's struggling, but he's struggling. I think there's a couple reasons as to the why. One, it's on him. He dances too much at the line and he doesn't hit the hole right, with conviction and hard enough.
Right.
There's way smaller
on the goal line,
way better in short yardage than him because they hit the hole. He doesn't hit the hole. He kind of picks, he kind of looks for his angle. He's got really great feet and he can now catch the ball. He's got some small man characteristics, despite the fact that he's almost 240 pounds. So there's a lot to like there, but he doesn't hit the hole hard. They got to have a short yardage runner. It's weird. I mean, it's like they have Guerendo. He's fast and powerful, but he fumbles, and they don't trust him in short yardage. They have Patrick Taylor, who is powerful,
runs upright,
but he runs upright, and they don't trust him in short yardage. They have Jordan Mason, who's really powerful and now versatile, can catch, but they don't really trust him, and he doesn't have effectiveness on the goal line. And then I think the other issue is I think Brendel is not getting a lot of pop in the run game up front, and their interior guys have not been quick enough. In this last game, I can tell you for sure because I just watched the All-22. On one of the goal line plays, it's a great hole for Mason, except Banks misses the block on Nick Bolton. Bolton ducks it and is sitting right there in the hole to wrap up the running back Mason. So, I mean, it's just simple as that. So you got to get blocking done up front. You either have to fool people, you got to outquick them, or you got to move them just on mass. And the Niners aren't doing any of it. They're not fooling them with play design. They don't have the quickness to beat them to the spot. Example, Bolton beating Banks to the spot. And they don't have the power to uproot anybody out of the hole, i.e. Jake Brendel. So
they haven't been good enough at the line of scrimmage.
That's it. I would go to Feliciano. I really would. Now, I asked Forster, why is Brendel your best option? And he's like, oh, there's like 7 or 8 things that he does better than. But he was talking about the other guys. This was before Feliciano got healthy. Now Feliciano's healthy. Now Feliciano's ready to roll. Is Brendel still your best option? Is he still better than Feliciano? I'm going to ask that question this week, and we'll see what kind of answer I get. But I'd rather see Feliciano. He's a bigger bodied guy. I think he can move people in the run game at the point. I'd like to see Feliciano. To me, I'd rather. I mean, to me, Brendel's probably going to watch this and be like, Kruger hates me, but I would rather see either Feliciano because he's bigger, or Drake Nugent because he's quicker. I'd rather have either the quickness or the size, and I think you can upgrade from Brendel. I really do.
Well, and what we have also, not to fast forward to your Ned Coletti baseball live stream, a post-game show on Friday for game 1 of the World Series, but we're far beyond the small sample size over here. Like we've looked at the 49ers, who have had the same problem over and over through every week of this season. An interior offensive line push is not where it needs to be to open up the running game. And defensive line has not done the job either in the other direction, but that's not what we're talking about right now. And I really don't know what other options that you do have on your defensive line to solve those problems, but there are
offensive line or defensive line.
No, but there are offensive line options now presenting themselves in Feliciano. So, don't just do the same thing in the name of consistency when no one's impressed with the consistency. The 49ers cannot be impressed with your goal line consistency. And if you have Nugent, if you have Feliciano, you might as well give someone else a chance. And it's not like you can't go back to Brendel. If those two guys go in there and fail miserably, this isn't a starting pitcher you're pulling from a game. You can go right back to them. But see if you
some people would argue that we're being too knee-jerk. Why? Because against Seattle, which was just a week prior, they ran for 228 yards and allowed no sacks. So on one hand, you could look at that offensive line and say they had a really great day against Seattle. What happened against Kansas City? Well, Kansas City is first of all a way better team.
Yeah, that's what you're shooting at, by the way. That's the target.
Kansas City doesn't give up rush yards. I mean, they held everybody down this year. They held down Zach Moss. They held down Derrick Henry. They held down Bijan Robinson. They held down J.K. Dobbins. They literally held down every good running back, many of which are way better than J.P. Mason. So it shouldn't be a surprise that they did a nice job against the 49ers in the run game, but because that's all they've been doing all year. But yeah, I think the 49ers have to evaluate this next game against Dallas. Dallas is terrible against the run. They haven't been able to stop the run. If the 49ers can't just pound the run right at the Cowboys, they probably need to make a change on their offensive line. Well, but also they could use another back. I think maybe they might need I hate to say this, but they may need a short yardage back. I mean, you can't run. Having a short yardage back in your roster is essential. You absolutely have to have somebody that you feel confident that you can hand it to them inside the 5 and they can power through there. So if you don't have that guy on your roster, cut some of these guys that are on your roster and go get somebody who can run inside the 5. Bill Walsh back in 1981, Damon, at the beginning of the dynasty, when they had Ricky Patton and Lenville Elliott and Bill Ring, said, you know what? None of these guys can run inside the 5. So we picked up Johnny Davis, who was like a 240-pound back, and they ran him inside the 5. You have to have somebody who can punch it inside the 5. And if Mason's not that guy, and he might not be, you got to go out and find a short yardage back. Somebody's got to be able to score. You have to be able to run inside the 5.
Here's the thing. Quit carrying a fullback on your roster if you can't run well in short yardage situations.
Well, run him. Run him. If Juice is such an essential part of this freaking team, then run him inside the 5.
He does. I mean, here's the thing. Kyle Juszczyk has very little goal line carrying in his very few touchdowns. He's not Mike Allstat, that's for sure.
But he can hit it up there. He can hit it up there hard, right?
You would hope, you would think, but it doesn't happen. Again, my point is we're not looking at small sample sizes here. So maybe the bye week is a chance to make some bigger permanent changes, but you got a vulnerable Dallas Cowboys team that you need to take advantage of. If Micah Parsons plays, you still got to beat him. If he doesn't play, you really got to beat him. You really got to beat the Dallas Cowboys. What is it?
He's not playing. No Lawrence, no Parsons from what I'm hearing. But I mean, yeah, you have to win this game. You have to. This is a must-win game for the 49ers. They have to win it. Absolutely.